You wake in the blue hush before sunrise. The cool air brushes your skin as you shift beneath. The light cover, your eyes open slowly. For a few still moments, you lie motionless, listening. The world has not yet stirred to its full breath. There is only the faint rustle of fabric as someone rises in another room, the distant shuffle of sandals over stone, and the soft murmur of morning wind threading through the narrow opening in your window screen. The floor is smooth limestone beneath your soles as you swing your legs down. It holds the memory of the night, cool and firm. You press your feet flat to the ground and exhale slowly. The stillness is not silence. It is discipline wrapped around everything like cloth. You do not need a sunbeam to know the hour. You've risen at this time every day since you were old enough to carry a water vessel without spilling. The body knows before the mind does. The room is small and square. One mat, folded. Blankets, a ceramic basin, a simple chest. Everything is in place. Not much space, but enough. No clutter, no luxury. That is not your role. You live where the dust is swept away, just at the edge of where power sleeps. The scent of lotus flowers drifts in, faintly through the latticework. Light, dry, not perfumed, but natural, carried from the sacred pool beyond the outer wall. You close your eyes and breathe it in. Hold it for a moment before. Standing, your movements are quiet, practiced. First the basin. You crouch beside it and pour. Water from the small pitcher kept sealed against flies. It splashes softly. You wash your hands, your face, your neck. The water is cold and clean. You splash it again across your shoulders. The chill sharpens your breath, but wakes your spine. You reach for the linen folded at the edge of the chest. Fresh, white, simple. The cloth is finely woven, but unadorned. You run your fingers along its edge to check for fraying. None. You wrap it around your waist and fasten it. With smooth, practiced hands, you wash your teeth with a small stick of wood and frayed fiber, chewing one end to soften it. Your mouth tastes of the desert, dried herbs and dust, faint salt from sleep. You spit once into the vessel and wipe your lips. You smooth the cloth. Across your chest, press down a wrinkle. You run your palms over your scalp to check for any stray growth. You shave every third morning. Today is not that day, but you note it all the same. There will be no second glance from the overseer, no correction. That is how it must be. You open the chest and take the small pot of coal. A thin line below each eye, precise, exact, not two. Draw attention, but to show readiness, cleanliness, respect. You close the pot and return it to its place. You move through your small space with care, not hesitation. Each act is folded into the next like layers of cloth. No thought wasted, no movement rushed. The light shifts. A soft pattern carved from sun through the lattice window begins to crawl across the stone wall. Pale at first, then warming. The sun is still below the horizon, but its breath touches the edge of the palace. You know it by the color of the dust in the air, the way shadows stretch thin before they vanish. You step toward the doorway. The corridor beyond your quarters is wide enough for two, though you walk alone. The floor is swept smooth. You hear a torch sputter behind a distant pillar, its oil burning low. Somewhere down the long passage, a servant's sandals slap gently against the stone as they hurry toward the kitchen complex. You do not follow, not yet. This is the moment between worlds, the hush before voices, before commands, before ceremony. You turn your face slightly toward the open courtyard as you pass, catching a glimpse of the sacred pool. The surface is dark, unbroken, ringed by lies and stone. A single heron stands at its edge, still as painted relief. The lotus scent is stronger here. You move past without pausing. Your station is not in the garden. Not yet. Today you will attend the antechamber near the royal quarters. Polishing, sweeping, preparing for those who never wait. You know your place within the motion of the palace. Invisible, essential. As you walk, you keep your eyes lowered but alert. The walls rise. High around you, their plaster smooth and clean. Murals stretch in panels along their length. Scenes of offerings of gods in profile of the eternal river winding beneath the sun. You've memorized each one. You do not linger. You are not here to admire. Your footfalls echo gently. Not loud, not soft, just part of the rhythm of morning. Behind you, a distant bell is struck. Once the day begins, you pass another servant, older, carrying a tray with folded linens. Neither of you nod. No words pass. You recognize each other without acknowledgement. Your work is separate, but your purpose is the same. Before the central court, you pause. You feel the stone warm, faintly beneath your feet. Now, the sun is rising. The light has weight. You square your shoulders. Breathe in once. Straighten your spine. You cross the threshold into duty, and the palace begins to stir. The morning is fully opened by the time your first task begins. You carry the broom with both hands, held low and steady. Its bristles are tight, bound reeds, worn smooth from daily use. The handle rests against your hip as you guide it over the polished stone, stroke by stroke. Each movement is deliberate, not rushed. The floor must be clean, not only in appearance, but in spirit. Dust is disorder. It is not permitted to remain in the places where the gods might pass. The corridor is long and cool, its walls breathing in the new light. You work from end to end, collecting what has settled during the night. Fine grit carried in on sandals, traces of ash from dying torches, a single beetle drawn toward warmth. You remove all of it. You do not stop to. Look at the painted friezes that stretch above your head. Gold leaf sundisks, lotus crowns, falcons in flight. You are not here to admire. Your role is to maintain, preserve, serve. The sweeping is done. You place the broom back in its place behind the servant's alcove. You lift the clay box of incense with both hands, balanced carefully against your ribs. The sticks inside are thin and dark, cut evenly, tipped with resins. You count them without speaking, always the same number, placed in the same order. Light the first stick with a small flame drawn from an oil lamp. The scent is immediate. Frankincense, sharp and clean, mixed with the faint sweetness of honeyed myrrh. The smoke curls upward as you walk, stick held upright, your other hand open, fingers outstretched as a sign of respect. You place the incense into its holder near the statue of Maat, where the halls bend toward the inner sanctum. The smoke drifts toward the ceiling, pale against the cool white of the alabaster walls. Your feet make no sound as you continue. The next task is in the preparation chamber where sacred oils are kept. You enter with a lowered gaze and pause just inside. A priest stands across the room, his back turned, focused on the linen cloths he folds. With practiced precision, you do not speak. You walk softly to the small table where the vessels are laid. There are 5 jars, each sealed with linen stoppers. You remove them carefully. The oils inside have been blended already, but you are trusted to pour them into smaller bowls for the morning rites. The jars are heavy bronze and clay, warm to the touch from the sunlight. That filters through the lattice screens. You grip the neck of the first jar and tilt it slowly. A stream of amber liquid flows into a shallow alabaster basin. The scent is thick and full. Cinnamon, cardamom, and something bitter buried deep. You pour without a drop spilling over. Then the next, then the third. Each blend has its own weight, its own breath. Your hands move with the rhythm of repetition. Your wrists are steady. This is what is expected. You clean the rims with soft cloth. You replace the lids. You check that each bowl is properly centered on its tray before lifting it. You carry the tray level, arms bent, just enough to keep balance, shoulders straight, gaze ahead, but low. You move as if the walls themselves are watching, because they are. The corridor to the inner chambers is quiet. Columns rise on either side, cool and pale, their edges softened by this morning light. The floor beneath your feet is swept clean as you left it. You pass statues of gods, Anubis, Horus, Hathor, each carved with care, their eyes fixed beyond you. You do not look at them too long. You bow your head as you pass. You arrive at the ritual space. The air is thicker here, filled with the weight of incense and old stone. The light shifts through colored glass incense, scattering soft reds and blues across the walls. You step in only as far as needed. A priest stands near the altar, his robes layered and stiff with starch. He lifts one hand, a gesture not to you, but to the air, and you step forward. You place the tray at the edge of the platform. Your fingers do not tremble. You step back immediately, 3 paces, then stand still. You are a shape in the corner of the room, present, useful, invisible. You hold a scroll next. The script is long and careful, inked in black and red. You don't read it, but you know its weight, its smell, dry papyrus and crushed pigment, faintly sour. You carry it to where the priest stands and wait for the motion of his fingers. When it comes, you extend it to him, bowed, wrists flat. He takes it without a word. You step back again. The rites begin. Chanting rises, low at first, then more certain. The priest's voices are calm, even shaped by memory and rhythm. You stand still as they speak, as they offer, as they pour water into ceremonial bowls and lift their hands to the carved gods who line the inner chamber. You pour when called to pour water from a cool jug, clear and heavy. You do not splash. You pour in one smooth stream and stop precisely at the right moment. You hold the jug with reverence. You bow your head. You step back. There is power here, but it is not yours. It moves around you, above you. You feel it in the coldness of the stone, in the shape of the words spoken, in the incense that clings to your skin. You are near to it, but not part of it, never part of it. You are the hand that brings, not the hand that blesses. You are the silence between instructions. The ritual ends. The bowls are emptied. The gods are thanked. The altar is cleaned. You bow once more and carry the empty vessels away, back through the corridor, back past the murals, the statues, the flickering lamps that will soon be extinguished in the rising light. Outside, the palace is waking fully. Sandals slap faster now. Servants carry trays of fruit, pictures of wine. The nobles will stir soon. You will be called again. But for now, this moment remains. Your steps are measured. Your eyes are low. Your presence is quiet, exact. The gods have watched, and you have done what is required. The sun sits high above the palace now, and the stone no longer offers relief. It breathes heat back into the air, slow and steady. What was cool in the morning is now warm to the touch. Walls, floors, vessels, your own skin. Your linen clings damply to your back. Sweat beads along your hairline and gathers in the folds of your elbows. You do not wipe it away. You continue in the service courtyard, where the cooks and storage keepers move like clockwork. The air is thick with smells. Crushed coriander, ground barley, sliced dates left to dry on low trays. You kneel beside a large basin, turning the grinding stone with even practiced force. The rhythm is simple. Press, rotate, lift. The grains beneath crack and soften, becoming powdery beneath the stone's weight. Another servant scoops them into a clay bowl. You begin again. Your hands ache after a time, wrists tight from repetition. The stone is warm. Your knees grow sore on the hard-packed floor. But the work continues. You move from grinding to washing. Clay pots, bronze ladles, boards stained with fig paste and lentil mash. Water runs cool from a basin in the shade, carried in earlier from the well. You rinse and scrub, using strips of linen to polish the surfaces dry. The scent of honey and spice lingers on your fingers. By mid-morning, you are led to the animal shelters near the edge of the palace grounds. Small goats, temple birds, and a cow kept for ceremonial use stand in the heat, swishing tails, shifting their weight in slow, sleepy arcs. You refill their water from heavy jars, pouring carefully into shallow basins lined with stone. The clay sweats in the sun, dampening your grip. You check the shelters for shade. Brush dust from the cow's flanks with a bundle of reed fiber. Careful not to spook her. She watches you with lidded eyes. Flies buzz along her back. You do not speak. The animals are quiet, except for the occasional shuffle or low sound carried through the hot air. When the animal care is done, you are sent to the storeroom. Inside, it is dimmer. Walls are lined with sealed amphorae, baskets of grain, bolts of folded linen. The air is heavy with the scent of oil and dried herbs. You assist another servant in lifting and arranging, moving into tighter rows, unrolling cloth to check for insects, tying bundles shut with twine. You do not question the order. Each object has its place. You make sure it stays there. The day stretches, the sun burns from above, and you begin to feel the slow throb in your temples. Heat presses in around your shoulders like a second garment. Even in the shade, the stillness carries weight. The palace is a body breathing heat, sweat, labor, and still in the gaps between tasks, there are moments. You pause at a corridor's edge, catching a glimpse through the open arch toward the Nile. The river gleams beneath the sun, slow and wide and unbothered. Papyrus reeds tremble at its edge. A breeze rises from the water, soft against your face, and you stand still to feel it. The scent of the river is cool and green, carrying traces of silt and distant lotus. Somewhere across the water, drums begin, slow and deliberate. A temple procession maybe, or a barge moving south. The sound carries across the breeze like a heartbeat. You listen just for a moment, then turn back to your duties. The palace continues to move around you. Dark shadows stretch along the colonnades. Servants cross paths with bundles of fabric, trays of food, small chests sealed with wax. You pass them wordlessly. Your place is not to ask. It is to move, lift, clean, arrange. Once in the heat of your work, you hear the sound of approaching sandals, heavier, more ornate. You step aside without looking. A noble glides past, robes light and layered, gold, catching the sun in brief flashes. Attendants follow in a practiced wave. You lower your gaze, still composed. The train of silk brushes the floor near your feet, but does not touch you. Later, as you carry a basket toward the temple quarter, you catch a different sight. The Pharaoh, not close, not for long, but unmistakable. A stillness falls among those nearby. Servants drop to a knee. You do not move until he has passed. Guards flank him, their eyes sharp. He is dressed in white and gold, walking beneath a canopy held by 4 men. You do not look up as he passes, only keep your head low and your breath steady. And then he is gone. You rise when the guards have passed. You return to your steps. No one speaks of it. There is no need. By now the sun has begun its slow descent. Still high, still merciless, but the angle has shifted. The shadows in the courtyard stretch longer than they did an hour ago. Smell of cooking returns deeper now. Roasted lentils, cracked garlic, warm bread. You press your shoulder against a clay wall briefly, letting its cooler face rest against your back. Just a moment. You close your eyes, not sleep, not longing, just stillness. and you move again. The basket needs delivering. The floors need sweeping again before evening light fades. There will be more to carry, more to clean. The day is not finished. Not yet, and you, still quiet, still steady, return to the work. The light softens. The air shifts first. The burn of the day replaced by a warmth that carries weight, but not heat. The walls that once radiated the sun's fire now glow gently, like stone holding a memory. You feel it in your limbs, the heat lifting, the dust settling, the pace of the palace. Changing again. Evening is not rest, it is refinement. You wash your hands in cool water before entering the inner rooms. The scent of the oil in the basin, juniper faintly bitter, clings to your fingers. You dry them on fine linen. No trace must remain, no stain, no grain of grit. You pass through the arched halls like a shadow. You begin where you are needed. In one chamber, you assist with the dressing of a noble woman's guest. You step carefully, never ahead of her, never behind her reflection. You unfold a fresh linen shawl, hold it open, and present it to another servant who will place it over her shoulders. You pass bracelets of green feldspar and polished carnelian, their weight familiar in your palm. You wipe a thumbprint from one before handing it over. Each motion is precise, hands steady, eyes low. You do not linger on the faces. You do not comment on the cloth, though you know its weave. You smooth the edge of a tunic before stepping back. You wait. You listen. Elsewhere, you set a tray in a chamber lit with low oil lamps. The linen on the tray is folded perfectly, the edge turned once. You align 2 copper cups at equal distance from the bread. Flat loaves warm from the oven. A bowl of salted duck. Figs sliced open to show their sweetness. A dish of soft cheese crumbled in olive oil. Nothing spills. Nothing touches what it should not. You polish the rim of a wine vessel before you pour. The wine is cool, pulled from a buried jar earlier in the afternoon. You tilt the vessel slowly, evenly. The scent rises deep and dark, sweetened with pomegranate. The red catches the flickering light as it fills the cup. The palace begins to glow from within. Candles flicker along the carved niches. Oil lamps hang from bronze hooks near the ceiling, their flames steady. The light touches the gold leaf of statues, the edges of alabaster bowls, the dark polished beams that span overhead. It reflects from the gems in jewelry, from the bronze on the walls, from the water in shallow bowls placed to cool the air. You walk through it all like part of the air. You do not speak. You do not draw attention. You watch your hands. You make no sound. You carry a folded cloth from one room to the next. You align vessels in preparation chambers. You wipe a polished stool where someone sat, brushing away a fine trace of powder. You step aside before you are asked. You bow your head when footsteps pass. Once he moves past the Pharaoh, not with fanfare, not in grand display, just movement, deliberate, contained. The hush in the room deepens. You feel it before you see him. His footsteps are unhurried. Guards flank him at a respectful distance. His robes are white, edged in gold thread. His presence is not loud, but it shifts the shape of the air around him. You do not look up. You step to the side without hesitation. Lower your gaze. Lower your posture. The breath in your chest becomes smaller. His steps continue. He is gone. Not fear, not reverence, not exactly. Order. You return to your tasks. In the central chamber, you polish the low tables where the guests may recline. You straighten the cloths draped over ceremonial stools. You adjust the folds of a curtain that catches too much breeze from the open air. Every placement must be exact. The wrong angle of a cup, the wrinkle in a seat covering, the uneven line of sandals left by a doorway. These are noticed not by voice, but by the silence that follows. Later, You carry a set of tools into the small preparation space behind a priest's quarters. Their use is delicate. Tweezers, razors, perfumed pastes. You do not touch them. You arrange them on a stone. Shelf, cloth beneath, spacing even. You clean the edge of a shallow dish where one left a faint streak of oil. Your breath slows as you work. Emotions are rehearsed, familiar. There is no room for thought, only care. The voices around you drop. The movement of the palace becomes slower, quieter. Cushioned sandals, whispered gestures, the scratch of linen as it moves. You hear water trickling in a fountain in the far courtyard. You hear the low buzz of insects drawn to the lamplight. A door cracks open. A breeze slips through and leaves again. The palace breathes. You have been on your feet since before the sun rose. Your back aches where the heat pressed into it earlier. Your knees are tight. Your wrists dull with effort, but your hands remain steady. This part of the day is not about strength. It is about grace, and grace can show no fatigue. You pass a mirror in a side corridor, bronze, darkened by shadow. For a moment, your reflection moves beside you. You do not stop. You do not look. Evening settles fully now. The last traces of the sun are gone from the high walls. The outer courtyards fall into shadow. The coolness returns, slowly sliding through the lower halls and rising like mist. There are fewer tasks now. Just the final adjustments. Just the last placements. Just the quiet before night. The halls you moved through all day are silent now. Lamps are lowered. Flames flicker in still air, casting long, low shadows that stretch and disappear against the floor. Voices have gone. Even the footsteps of guards echo softer, more spaced. The world holds its breath, and the weight of the day settles into the stone itself. You walk the path you know well, down a side corridor, through a narrow gate, past the edge of the kitchen wall, where the clay jars sweat with moisture from the cooled earth. The air here is different, lighter, carried by night. The sky above is wide and without end. Stars burn in patterns too old to question. The moon hangs low, pale and still. You feel the open air on your arms. It chills the salt of your sweat. The fabric of your simpler linen wrap, looser now, worn soft by countless washings, moves against your back with each breath. Your space is waiting for you. A small square corner of the outer grounds, sheltered by a half wall and a reed roof. There is nothing decorative here. A mat rolled against the stone, a jar of water, a small basket with a cloth folded over the food left from the kitchens. You set your things down. You sit. Your body eases into stillness slowly. Not relief, just release. The tightness in your shoulders fades in dull increments. Your feet throb gently against the ground, bones swollen from the day's steps. Your hands ache across the knuckles inside. The palms, you stretch them, then let them rest. You uncover the cloth from the basket. Bread, a scoop of lentils, a wedge of dried fig, nothing more. You eat without hurry. The food fills the space in your stomach, eases the sharpness from your thoughts. You drink the water, cupping it with your hand before lifting the jar to your lips. It's cool and slightly bitter from the clay. Familiar around you. Others sit as well, scattered shadows in the quiet, some close enough to hear. One shifts his weight, another hums. Something low under his breath. There are a few words passed between them. Soft, nothing loud, nothing that asks for reply. A laugh flickers and fades. You do not join them, but their nearness feels right. You are alone, but not separate. The day folds behind your eyes, each task held in your body. The grind of stone against grain, the weight of bronze and clay, the press of sunlight in the courtyard, the cold smoothness of polished alabaster, the stillness of the ritual chamber, the whisper of linen as a noble past. The moment brief, soundless, when the Pharaoh walked past and the world narrowed around him. You think of that not with awe, but with awareness. You were there. You are always there, moving in the quiet edges of power, shaping nothing, touching everything. You remember how the candles caught the gold on his headdress, how his steps made no noise at all. You think of the gods not as forms with names, but as shapes in the space you serve, in the clean line of a folded cloth, in the unbroken surface of a water basin, in the gesture of your hands when they do exactly what they must. This is what you know. The next day will come. It will begin in darkness. You will rise before the sun. You will wash, dress, sweep, carry, polish. You will serve without speaking. You will watch without looking. You will be useful, invisible, exact. You do not think of escape. You think of movement. 1 hour into the next, one motion into the next. This is your place. It has been shaped around you. You lie down on the mat. The stone beneath is hard, but you know its shape. Your shoulder finds the place where the pressure lessens out. You stretch your legs and pull the cloth over your chest. You close your eyes for a few moments. Your mind drifts not far, just two. A name you once heard as a child. A god carried by wind and river who watches from behind the sun. You do not speak it aloud. You let the thought pass like breath. You touch your chest once, then rest your hand by your side. The stars do not blink. They burn steady. The dust clings to your skin even now. Sleep comes slowly, but it comes. And when it does, it is deep. Because tomorrow will begin again. You are a servant of the Pharaoh's house, and that is enough.